So today, I made the mistake of looking at Twitter. I mean, anytime you look at Twitter, it's pretty much a mistake. It's not a good idea. Twitter is a giant trash fire. And the guy that I've heard of before, who makes extremely lame, shitty articles and videos about really dumb things, by the name of One Angry Gamer, was talking about how there's a really, really big problem that the next Catwoman is going to be black. Now, because he knew he would get pushback on this, he made the distinction that it was not a problem that Catwoman was going to be black, but that Selena Kyle was going to be black. Because Halle Berry's character in Catwoman was not Selena Kyle, her name was Patience. People then pointed out, rightly so, that Eartha Kitt from the 1960s Batman show, one of the two women who replaced Julie Newmar, was black. And you say, oh, that's not Selena Kyle. Well, it was. In fact, the name Selena Kyle is never stated on that show, ever. But all three of those women do play the exact same character. Their narrative stories continue through all three actresses. Same character. So I have this problem. I do understand when some people withdraw from things that they feel like are progressivism getting in the way of the things that they enjoy. For instance, like there are some people who got really mad that for a while Thor was a woman. I would say for the first few months of that series, I was kind of pissed off about it too, because it was very poorly written. But then they started writing it very well, and I actually really enjoyed it. I thought it was good, but it's also not the same character. It's a different character who just takes up the mantle for a while. And I knew it wasn't going to last forever, so, just check it out. So I legitimately think that for the most part, when there is a legit racial swap in a character, it isn't necessarily a bad thing. There are cases where it wouldn't work, though. For instance, for those of you who might have seen the Netflix show or are familiar with the comic books, Luke Cage. Luke Cage and Jessica Jones, these are characters that have been in Marvel for a very long time. You could not make Luke Cage white, and you could not make Jessica Jones black. You could maybe make her Hispanic, but I think even that would probably kind of do a disservice to the character. One of the reasons why it's important is that it's not just that they're heroes and they have these aspects to their characters, but their relationship, being an interracial relationship, is very important to their characters. It is centralized. Their race is a part of their character. And there's nothing wrong with that, but you can't really change that without changing the character diametrically. So in that case, I think that would be kind of crazy. And in fact, I think most major black superhero characters you probably couldn't race swap, because you got to think of like when these characters are being written, and this is a lot of them started during the civil rights movement or shortly thereafter, and these are characters that were introduced as a way to try and acclimate people to being like, hey, there can be black superheroes too. So their race is indelibly part of their character. You can't just change that. That isn't necessarily true for characters that were written in the 50s, in the early 60s, things like that. It's fine. Yeah, like a white Aurora, a white Storm from the X-Men wouldn't work. One of her major backstories is that she was considered a goddess in Africa, in her native village. Like, you can't change that. You can't. But, like, Peter Parker, is there ever anything that's, like, specifically white about Peter? Not really. I'm glad they don't race swap Peter, and instead they made a new character, Miles Morales, and Miles is fucking great. Great character. But you could, and it wouldn't affect the character at all. It wouldn't fucking matter. They just don't do it because it really piss people off, and really there's no reason to. So, when you have, like, there's going to be a movie, and they're going to have Catwoman, and she's going to be black, well, who cares? Catwoman's been black before. And there's nothing about the Catwoman character that has to be white, that makes sense that she is white. She could be anything. It doesn't matter. I don't understand that. And I think that's the thing that most people should consider when they start thinking about these things. Because it's too easy for some jackass, some random dickbag on the fucking internet making videos or writing articles, being like, you should get upset because they're changing your beloved nerd culture. But are they? Are they really? Does that change the character in any meaningful way? If not, then maybe just shut the fuck up and leave it alone. Like, is it really worth getting that upset about? I don't know. But then again, when people do that, I always assume one very specific thing. They're there to get the clicks and get the fucking money. And they don't give a shit about it any more than a normal person does. They just want to get other people all riled up. That's what I think.